Hi guys, I wanted to do a quick review of Valentine Road, which me and my husband saw yesterday afternoon at Hot Docs. It was a very good film. It was about a teenage boy named Larry King, who is a gay teenage boy, and he was murdered by a classmate for expressing his attraction to him. What happened was, this was in Oxnard, California, which I believe is a suburb of LA. And what happened was these two kids were in a computer class together, and I think the previous day to the incident, Larry, the gay boy, had gone up to the other one named Brandon McInerney. That was the name of the other guy. And he was on a basketball court with his friends, and went up to him and told him that he wanted him to be his Valentine. So I guess completely humiliated him. And the next day in this computer class, this kid Brandon had brought a gun to school and shot him right there in the class in front of the teacher, in front of the other students. Everybody was freaking out. And then he shot him once, and then he shot him again in the back of the head, and then he took off. And eventually they caught him, and he was arrested and all that. So it's really very, very sad story, just really tragic. But what really came out in this film, pardon the pun, was the really polarizing opinions of all the people involved. All the people who were friends of Larry, who looked after him. He was adopted. He was like in all these foster homes and stuff. So, his foster mother was talking about him, and other people who had, I guess, seen him in the system and stuff. Everybody, loved him and said what a sweet, loving, fun guy he was. I mean, he crocheted cat toys for one of his teachers. I mean, this is the kind of guy he was. He was just really, really sweet and loving. But he was obviously, I think, a little naive and a little immature. And another thing that contributed to, all the, I guess, animosity between him and this other boy, the other boy had for him, pardon me, was in the last 2 weeks of his life, he started going to school, wearing makeup and earrings and jewelry and high heels. He was a really girly guy. And a lot of people were really pissed off and disturbed by it. And but there was really nothing the school could do, because there's a law in California that says you can't, if somebody identifies as a girl, you can't discriminate, you can't tell them they can't wear makeup and blah, blah, blah. So there was really nothing the principal could do, although I kind of question that. I mean, there had to have been something they could have done. But I believe that really contributed to his death, because he was, really out. I mean, this guy was, in the last 2 weeks of his life, he had really, come out, and he was really, he obviously loved who he was. He wasn't ashamed of being gay. And he wasn't about to change for anybody, which is a great thing. But I think he went about it in a really kind of immature, in an immature way. He was kind of pushing the boundaries. And that's what upset a lot of people. And that's what contributed to, the hatred that this other boy had for him. And plus, this other boy, Brandon, was he came from a really screwed up background himself. His father was physically abusive. Drugs, alcohol. His mother was a drug addict. His father was an alcoholic, drug user. He got the shit beat out of him all the time. And then his half-brother, introduced him to this neo-Nazi guy. So he started to sort of become this budding skinhead. So, I mean, this guy wasn't exactly Mr. Stability, and he, that was another reason this guy just, chose to handle it this way. The other boy was also 14. And he was charged as an adult, which is, to me, ridiculous. When you're 14 years old and you commit murder, how can you be charged as an adult? It doesn't make much sense, but that's what they did. So they went to trial. The first trial ended up in a mistrial, and then he ended up pleading guilty to second-degree murder and getting 21 years without parole, without a chance of parole. And so, like I was saying, what the movie did a really good job of was showing the polarizing opinions of these people. And it was really, really pretty sickening to see to hear some of the comments these people were making. In this one particular scene, the director goes to interview 3 of the jurors who were on the jury at the first trial. And these were these 3 women who bonded during the process. And you know, they were just so obviously prejudiced and biased towards Larry, and saying, well, you know, if he was, you know, why did he go up to him on the basketball court? You know, why was he dressed like that? You know, blah blah blah. Brandon's a great kid. He's really smart. I mean, they were just so obviously biased against him because he was gay, and you know, it was really really sad. You know, just awful. Like, and the fact that this kid could bring a gun to school, you know, all these school shootings that we've been seeing in the last few years, you know, since Columbine and all that, you know, it just, you know, I don't understand why people in the U.S. are so gun happy. You know, I really don't. I mean, I understand, okay, yeah, having a gun for self-protection, okay, I can sort of get that, but why do you need to have an AK-47 and a Tech 9, you know? Like, what, are you expecting the friggin' militia to come to your door? Like, seriously. You know, I can see having like a handgun for protection, but even that, like, I just don't understand all the gun lobbyists and the gun crazy people over there. Because it's, I mean, look at all the fucking shit that happens in the U.S. with guns. You know, it's just ridiculous. And if this kid was living with his grandfather at the time, and this guy was like armed to the teeth. This guy had rifles, this guy had this and that. So that's how he got the gun. So maybe if, you know, this guy hadn't had access to guns, this wouldn't have happened. Maybe it would have, maybe it wouldn't. Anyway, it was just a really good film, and it was made by HBO. It was HBO documentary, so you'll probably end up seeing it on TV on HBO. So if you get a chance to watch it, I recommend it. It was really good. Very sad movie, very sad. But at the end of the film, they put up like little, you know, updates about what happened, you know, to the people since. And it turned out that Larry's heart had been donated to a 10-year-old girl. You know, so that was pretty poignant, I thought. You know, and the movie is called Valentine Road because he's buried in a cemetery that's on Valentine Road. And this whole thing happened around Valentine's Day also, so it all kind of ties in. And look, I'm wearing red today. So anyway, yeah, it was a really good film, and I recommend it to anyone. So today we are seeing The Life and Crimes of Doris Payne, which should be really interesting. It's about this this woman who was like, I think either a bank robber or a jewel thief. So we'll see how that is, and I'll do a review for you guys. Okay, later. Bye.